Hello viewers and subscribers. Welcome again the continuation of the previous screencast. Previous screencast I discussed already about the possibility of microservice-based application. How can you migrate the databases, or I mean the version-based database migration with different data migration tools like Flyway and Liquibase. And that's the continuations for the Flyway-based database migrations. I will do the Liquibase data migrations. How can you do the same migration script? You need to be take over the migration script from the Flyway, and then you can take this script into the Liquibase migration script, and then you can run the same migration script for the different tools like Flyway and Liquibase, depending what's the requirement for your companies or your working place. And that's why it is little bit the really little bit how can say a little bit complex, and really need to be need to be concentrated. You need to be understand how it is the process works. But in the professional life, you can say there's a lot of company they are using the Flyway. There's a lot of company they are the Liquibase, and a lot of company they are using still the plain SQL script to migrate the database schemas and structure. And that's why I try to give it to you the overall idea, which tools you have to use and how can you configure, how can you deploy the applications for the Flyway and Liquibase the database migration tools. If you see that you have a DevOps, means the developments and operations, continuous integration, continuous deployments, and with the REST APIs, we implement some REST API with the backend server Postgres or any SQL database like MySQL and Oracle. That just this works automatically. And the deployment process, I already discussed about a lot of possibility. There is standalone jar-based deployments, and we have a Docker and Docker Compose-based deployment and Docker Kubernetes deployments. I have another screencast. I discuss how can you deploy this application, the same application, into the different approach like standalone jar-based approach and Docker Compose-based approach or Docker Kubernetes-based approach. So you see, the standalone jar-based approach has a lot of possibility, Flyway-Liquibase, and then the last screencast I already discussed about how the Docker Compose based deployments process with the Flyway database and the database migration tool Flyway. This is the just follow the previous screencast I discussed, and really good example with these things. But if you see the project like I already discussed here, you see the project structure we already properly designed and properly works, and everything and what we are expecting, and the configurations and all things is properly working. So this is the previous screencast, and today we try to discuss and do the real implementations, or discuss with you the how can you do the Liquibase implementation for same applications, the migration to the Liquibase. We'll do the next part, and today we'll do the Flyway part. So that means we will do the migration today. This is the structure that we need to be discussed, and how can you deploy, how can you configure the application, how can you write down the script, and how can you deploy the application. After that, you can check the applications is properly running with the Postman test or Swagger UI test. I will show you. It is already here in the Swagger. You can see the pictures like here. So this is the Swagger UI. So Swagger Open API 3 is a version proper design. We'll discuss together. So let's have a look at the presentation. So we will discuss today the Docker Compose based deployments, and then next screencast we will discuss the Docker and Kubernetes based deployment with the Liquibase database migration tools. So let's have a check the development process, what is running. So if you see that I already run the applications, everything is there. We will do together to run the applications, and then also the log information the application is running, and also the log information. We see the log information for each of the applications, and also you can also check the Postman application. We will need to be configure the Postmans. I am running the Postmans, and then You'll see all the run, we need to be run the test properly, what I need to design, and we will do together. So let's have a discuss the implementation part first, and then we deploy and release the applications, and then and test the application with the Postmans, and then also the test the application with the Swagger UI with the proper documentations. I have a really complete new screencast about the Swagger configuration. You can follow the channels and get the really clear understanding how it is to be done, how it is to be documented, and it has been the model. So it has a two versions. It has a Swagger 2 and versions, and then Swagger OpenAPI 3 or Swagger 3 versions. So you can follow the previous screencast in my channels. So that means we what we need to do, then the flyway this is so what we need to do, we have applications, then application that we are expecting. Sorry. So that means we need to be follow this one. So okay, what we need to be do the migration tools. I already discussed about the model part that I already discussed with you, and the previous screencast. How is the model definition? Based on these models, we will define define the defined our script files. We see that all the models we define, we will analyze it, we discuss it, and then saved our relationships, and then there is defined all the repository structures, and then properly handled professionally, and the service implementation, and then you see that all the implementation of of your service definition. So it's between here all the service, and there is all implementation. I discussed it detail more in the previous screencast how the implementation needs to be handled, or how need to be structured the project as a professional way to build the projects. And then then after that we have a one by one migration steps. So it's a professional structure, like we have DB that migration folders, and after the DB migration folder is there, then we need to be go the like so let's close it all part, slower the detail. The application part, application email, development post. So you see that the first version of the database, it has the three tables. Table 1 is the registration table. It has user profile table for all the column definition, user profile tables, and the constraint, and also the relationship between between the primary key and foreign key relationships, okay, or database mapping, the SQL level mapping you see, and then also you have got the sequences created that we needed to define, because it's not the sequences you need to be controlled from your side. That's the idea for these applications. And then we need to be have the tables like this. A table like we have additional new tables, new requirements, because that's I say this is a continuous integration and continuous deployment process. So every day you have a day, every day maybe you release it, maybe you need to change, maybe additional columns, you need to set some constraint in the scripts, then you need to be one by one increase the versions. So we have the initial version 1.3, and then we have the initial version to create the second version to create add the sequences, and then also the create the additional tables, new tables, and then also the new sequences for the new tables, and the constraint for one of the tables, like the foreign key primary constraint relationships. So that's one of the ideas. So maybe we need some maybe some values need to be long and some need to be float,